Hello and welcome back. This is MC1 Gamer providing you a final on the Convert This series for Skaven with the War Litter that I'm creating for Anthony at the Sustainable Center. This is the first of two conversions that I'm doing for him, and I just wanted to give a nice video demonstration of what I've done. This is also going to go to him so that he can see what was done. Now, I was provided with some painted models initially, so just so you know, some of this stuff, obviously, you know, the warlord himself and the storm vermin here at the bottom, they all came painted. So I'm imagining that they're going to get base coated again before this is completed. So, and I'm hoping, because I think that it'll come out much better if that's the case. So here's some of the things that I did. First of all, I was given a lot of license. I got some pictures, which I showed on the previous Convert This in the series when I first announced that I was doing this particular Skaven model, and was given a lot of pictures. Some other people in the community, the PMP group, had sent me some pictures as well of some war litters. So I had some idea of what I wanted to do, but mostly Anthony just said, you know, do what you want, you know, be creative, and you know, he didn't really give me a ton of direction, but he did give me a whole lot of bits, and you know, he gave me a whole bunch of these you know, wooden you know, flat panels, you know, pieces that I could use, and then just about every bit you see here, including a nice bag of stuff that I'll never have to use. He also provided. Now I looked up the with pictures, and I looked up in the actual book to see what kind of options and what kind of write-up there was about a war litter. And one of the things I noticed, of course, is that, you know, war litters tend to have trophies. So things from conquered foes, they tend to actually be emulating the dwarven lord on a shield. They could have been captured, you know, from the orcs, in which case they could be a little orky. I wanted to have something that was a little bit epic, so that if this was a long-time warlord who's had many battles and defeated many opponents, that he would have a number of different things. So I have a over here. This is this could be a one of those. I believe this might be a wolf. One of those knights of the wolf, the white wolf from the Empire. I might be getting that wrong. This is the severed head of a cryptar, so that's pretty impressive. Just a basic human skull, another human skull, some more human skulls. These could be skeletons or zombies or just dead humans that have been killed that didn't quite make it as slaves. Some metal panels, they can easily be painted as such, that, you know, just these brackets that would help, you know, keep this makeshift litter in place, which I thought came out nice. I used some nails, excuse me, some small nails to make it look like it's been, you know, put together, and also added some additional bits into the back here. So you've got, you know, a couple of bells hanging from the top. You got some hanging from the banner. I wanted to have a banner on it. I know he's got a banner on his, you know, his top, and it's hard to see him because he's kind of half painted in black here. But I wanted to have a banner because if you're going to have something this prominent, you're probably going to have a flag of some type, a standard of some type that's going to demonstrate, you know, what unit it's from, or the fact that it's a centerpiece for units to rally around. And then I have the warlord himself. Now, I did a bunch of different conversions, and I'm going to break this stuff apart a little bit because I did not glue this whole thing together, because I wanted to make it easy for Anthony, or if Anthony's going to have somebody else do it, for him to be able to paint this. So I'm going to take it apart, and it's real easy. I have a couple of pegs and a couple of holes, so it should be easy. Let's see if it actually wants to. There we go. And a couple, and there's a, you know, the rat passenger in the back there. That should make, you know, give a little bit of character. But I cut off the stone that it was standing on, and the I put some pegs on so that it would easily insert, and it doesn't really stand that well, so it's going to have to be glued in. I would definitely, it's a little wobbly, but, I didn't want to put huge pegs that would, go all the way through, but just something that would, give a guide on where it could go. And you could see I made some changes to the Warlord as well. I changed the directory on the back, the direction, the angle on the back for this back piece. Shortened this a little bit; it was sticking way out, and changed up his arm. Now a lot of the glue and the cuts, they'll be covered over when this is based and then painted. But I wanted, he was holding this out off to the side and a little up. I wanted to have him look like he's directing his army. So he's pointing his spear well out there, pretty much yelling to his troops, to march forward, onward, and I saw in the options that he can use a shield. I've seen in some other ones that they can use a shield, so I put it on a shield, and I thought that was pretty good, better than the meat cleaver. This could easily have been interchanged, but Anthony wasn't really concerned, so I figured I'd stick with that. And yeah, again, this has some paint on it, but it doesn't look like it's that thick that it couldn't just be base coated and then painted over. I think that would probably look better. I mean, he could just touch this up and paint over areas that are bare gray, but that'll be his option. That's for him to do. So we'll put this off to the side. Now looking at the actual war litter. So I have a number of different bits, severed hanging heads from chains. This piece here with a symbol. It really didn't matter if it covered up the storm vermin too much. I mean, you can see them, but from, the point of view of a player, it's going to be more like that. But they're there, they have their heads sticking out. They're certainly not, they certainly can be seen, that they're there. But I have this removable, and it has a couple grooves for a guide so that you can put it, onto these raised fists, which mostly hold it up. And then some of these pieces actually touch the shoulders on the back here. So, they can be repositioned as such. If you don't put them quite right, it's going to be on an angle. But, they can be situated. You just put your finger down and they'll sit the proper way. There you go. You can feel it when the angle's right without having to look underneath. There you go. So you can see that that's pretty solid there. And that will sit pretty solid. And let's make sure I'm doing this right. A little harder to do when you're not looking. Okay, there you go. And you can see that the actual litter is more even, but not everything on it is symmetrical, and that just is indicative of how the Skaven do things. So that's get a little bit of a different picture. I have some different stuff in the center there, so that just could a little more stability for the warlord that's on top. But once this is painted up, I think the wood will really come through, even though we used wooden strips, wooden panels that were not plastic and already molded. It'll give it a little bit more of a unique look to some of the other litters and palanquins that were made. And I really like those brackets, the way those came out, with the huge nail on either side. It looked like they were slapped together to try and brace this. So that's the war litter. I think it'll look nice painted up. I don't know who's going to paint it, if Anthony's going to do it or if he's going to have somebody else do it. But I think this will be a nice centerpiece to a unit, and it'll be, okay, of course I'm having trouble doing it while I'm on camera, but it should peg in there pretty easily. And there you go. So that's the war litter, and it should look pretty cool once it gets onto the board and once it's painted up. Not sure if he's going to keep with that ethereal type look for these guys. That's up to him, but that could easily be painted. It looked like it was pretty thin paint to go with whatever new paint scheme that he has. So let's put this off to the side. This has been completed, and the next job, which I think is going to be a little bit harder, is going to be looks like it's a warlord on a bone breaker. So that's what I'm going to be starting with next. A number of different things I'm going to be doing. Going to be adding some chains and a couple other things. He's already on a base, so I was going to try and mount him, say, on a nice big rock. I might still do that. It depends. I got to see what I can find that I think would be a good fit. And by the way, I didn't do any of the flocking for this. I just made sure that there was enough raising so that the toes wouldn't, the paws wouldn't get completely buried into any sand. But one of the reasons why I didn't flock this, even though I offered to do it, and Anthony said, he didn't care, don't bother. But one of the reasons why I didn't do it, even though I was going to do it just as a courtesy, was because he might have a different method for his army with different types of sand or grass or whatever, and I didn't want to change it up so that it didn't fit. So I'm leaving it for him, but I'm leaving it with a convenience, with just a slightly raised area. There's a little bit of material from where these paws were connected to the bases, the previous bases, and they're glued on pretty securely. So it should help with whatever basing system he has, but then at least it'll be uniform with whatever he's doing with the rest of his army. So I might do the same thing here. Maybe just, throw some rocks in, or maybe put his on top of a rock or a boulder or some kind of a structure. I don't know. On the other hand, I may just leave it as it is because it looks pretty good. But I think I'd like to have it a little bit raised up, just so that, again, if whatever flocking is done, you don't quite bury the feet within it. But the idea with this, if you don't know, is that there's supposed to be, and I'm gonna probably cut him again off, just like I did before, off of that rock piece. I might keep some of it, depends, so that he's supposed to be sitting on the back here. He's riding, he's getting a piggyback ride by this giant ogre. So that's what the next job is. He's going to have some chains. He's going to have all different types of bits. That will be the next stage, and I'll show updates when I either complete it or if I've gotten any significant progress on that coming up. So I hope you like it. I hope this is up to the standards that Anthony was looking for. I think that, it's a little bit hard to tell because, again, you're looking at not only an incomplete model, but a model with different types. Some of it's painted, some of it's gray, and some of it has been mashed up with different colored bits. But I'm envisioning it with some paint on it and paint it up nicely. I think this will do well, but hopefully he'll like it, and hopefully this is going to come out well. And I look forward to seeing what the finished product will look like, and certainly I also hope to be facing it on the other side of the table and see how devastating it is. If you have any ideas of your own for Convert This series that I'm running, please feel free to type them in. If you have a project that you're looking for, I think I'm going to start doing this a little more regularly. I've started out doing this just as a barter situation for some models and kits that I'm looking for. That's always a possibility. If you're interested in doing this on a commission basis, the process that I'm using is you provide all the materials. You provide the basic model. You provide as many of the bits as you can. If I have extra bits that I can add in, then I will. There's a few things that I added in that Anthony didn't provide, like a lot of these, heads that I added in, the bell on the back. I think he provided them, but that came from my kit, as well as the head on the other side. So I'll add in additional bits that I have in my extensive bits boxes. But if you have a design, an idea, a picture, you can send that to me, and we can come up and we can work something out. But I'm certainly open to doing it. I've had some fairly complicated conversions and some very simple. But if you're not into converting and you want to try to work something out with me, I might be interested in doing it. Whether it's for cash, trade, or for both. I'd be happy to entertain it, and I might do more of them. And of course, I would feature it on the Convert This series that I've been running for quite some time. So, looking forward to doing many, many more of these. And of course, once I'm done with this, I will then move back to some of my own models. And I have a bunch of new conversions that are just sitting on the table waiting to be done. But this, of course, is a priority. This will probably take me, well into at least till the end of the year. My goal is to finish this, the second one at least before the end of the year, before the new year, and have Anthony able to paint these up and have them, put on the table at the very start of 2015. So I hope you like it. Please feel free to, if you do, to click like. If you have any comments of any kind, leave them in the comments section. And if you're new to this and you want to follow some of this, as well as other bat reps and stuff that I do, feel free to subscribe. And I look forward to the next one. Have a great day, everybody.